And another thing that kind of made me happy, and I will say I'll preference this, it's just my timeline, and my timeline is not an indication of the world or wrestling in general, just the people that I follow. But it was cool because having these conversations about Dana White and bringing guests on that covered UFC and MMA fully, they were very, very just like heartbroken and disappointed that a lot of the conversation dealing with that is people defending Dana White, and where Dana White literally had to go in his press conference and say, for those people that are defending me, stop it, I'm in the wrong. Whereas when the news broke out and the rumor that Saudi Arabia was going to purchase the WWE, there was a lot of people on my timeline like, this is the line, and I'm done and I'm out. Which, to be honest, with me and the WWE, if that would have happened, I kind of would have been as well. Were you surprised first off, was that the reception or the feeling that you got from wrestling at large? And were you surprised by that?
I mean, so it was tough, right? Because I was trying my hardest not to fully take in that news as potential truth, right? Because I recognize there is smoke to that fire, and I fully believe that
it takes time, even if it was
takes
true.
time, right?
It's not like
on Tuesday, it was like it's a done deal, and I thought there's no way. I don't believe that any way, shape, or form, and I refused to comment on it until I felt like it was closer to a done deal. But just looking at it at the time, of course, we're talking about Saudi Arabia and their public investment fund. Now, they have a hand in a lot of American companies, so it wasn't even surprising necessarily. They've already been involved with WWE for so long. For the last 5 years, they've been running pay-per-views, or I guess they call them premium live events now. But they've been running events in Saudi Arabia since the Greatest Royal Rumble. They do Crown Jewel. They've done Super Showdown. They've done all of these shows. Elimination Chamber last year was there as well. They've been doing these shows in Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Arabia pays a lot of money for these. And so it wasn't surprising that their name popped up. And yeah, there's a lot of talent concerned about that. And not from a perspective of it being run like the Saudi government runs things, because if that were the case, again, Saudi Arabia is invested in a lot of American companies. And it's more so having that, basically having a hand in our financial institutions. It's a much bigger thing than that. So I'm not necessarily concerned about how WWE would be run in a sense, but I do think that there is concern around, certain talents, right? Like Sami Zayn, one of the biggest stars in WWE, can't actually work the events that take place in Saudi Arabia. And so, I had heard from a couple of talents who were concerned about them taking over as potential majority owners of the company and potentially not wanting to work there any longer. It's a different landscape for the business than it was a year ago, because a year ago there was kind of this excitement over the fact that WWE for a long time was considered kind of creatively bankrupt and not necessarily a place people wanted to work if they wanted the freedom of creative expression. And then when Hunter took over last year, it was like, okay, now there's a even playing field as far as wrestling companies out there, and there's desire to, and you always want to see that because it's great for the wrestlers. And to see right now wrestlers starting to feel uneasy about WWE again is really a shame.